let's talk a little bit about scalability of functions. Now, in the last tutorial, I mentioned that you use multiple functions. And one thing you have to understand when you take these simple tutorial courses, or any tutorial course in general, is that when you actually get into the field into doing and making real applications, that you end up using these ideas and scaling them quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close the JavaScript for a minute, and I might as well close the output so you can see it a little bit better here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say my, or we can call this function 1, like this, and we'll just give it a nice 1, and I'm going to literally copy and paste this 3 more times, 2 and 3. So this is going to be function 2, this is going to be function 3, and this is going to be function rooster. No, I'm just kidding. It's going to be function 4, of course. So we're going to say 2, 3, and 4, like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now let's go to the JavaScript here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete everything, and I'm going to say function, and I'm going to say function 1, and I'm going to add this in. I'm going to go alert, and I'm just going to go 1. Okay. And what this will do is that this will allow us to, when we click the button 1, and if we look at the output here, we have to run with JS first. Once we do that here, we say function, okay, and you can see here that there's a bit of a spelling mistake, but that's okay. And there you go. You see that it does indeed add in the 1, so we're good. Now, like I said, you see how I essentially just copy and pasted 4 buttons there? Well, I'm going to do the same thing with the functions. I'm going to copy and paste 2, 3, and 4, but we're going to do, again, this is going to be 2, 3, and did we call it rooster or 4? No, we definitely called it 4. So you also want to make sure that your code makes sense. See how I went 1, 2, 3, 4 like this? Well, I didn't start with 4, 3, 2, 1 or 2, 3, 1, 4. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So everything does make sense. And so if I run this here, we got 1, we got 2, we got 3, and we also have 4 here. So you can see here that we have 4 functions that do 4 different things. They just essentially print the different items here. Now, again, this is an example, but when you write code for web applications, you end up using a lot of functions. If I make a game or an app, there's at least 10 functions, and that's a very simple app. There could be 50 functions that you write. The way that you want to use functions is that every single little function that your app does, you want to write it out in its separate own little function like this. So if it needs to, for example, update, that's a function. If it needs to print, that's a function. If it needs to calculate, that's another function. Now let's say you need to calculate 3 different things at 3 different times. Well, those are probably 3 different functions. There's 2 reasons we do this. One, it makes more sense from a functional point of view, as in a working point of view, and it also looks better. I can tell if I write a function called print name, I know exactly what this does. If I just do this, I have no idea what that does. But print name, I know what that does. And if, for example, if I write, update score, I know exactly what function that is going to perform. Also, if I write in something like reverse word or connect to platform, okay, I know exactly what each of these functions would do. Again, these are hypothetical, but you want to make sure that your code makes sense and that your functions are aptly named.